What's going on, everyone? Miguel Torres here at Retro Basement. I want to talk about Revenant Saga today. I recently got it on the Nintendo Switch from the eShop for around $14.99, plus that weird tax that Nintendo adds. But I wanted to let you know if this game's any good or not, since Metacritic doesn't seem to have any reviews up and not many other people do. So let's get into the nitty-gritty in regards to Revenant Saga, made by KEMCO. I believe I used to see them back on Nintendo 64 and Super Nintendo back in the 90s, but this company basically disappeared for a number of years. They have stayed on the mobile scene, but recently I've been seeing some of their games getting ported to systems again, from mobile, of course. And this game kind of shows that it was ported from a mobile device such as an iPad or a phone. But that doesn't necessarily make it horrible, but it doesn't make it incredibly good either. Going into this game, you shouldn't expect any Final Fantasy quality type of play, even Final Fantasy 13, the one that people tend not to like, and it's not that bad, but it's not traditional either. But this game is a traditional turn-based RPG. However, the graphics can leave much to be desired. Revenant Saga follows the story of protagonist Albert. He basically tries to save his best friend's parents because they get caught up in a plague. And this doctor comes into town offering a cure. In turn, he wants Albert to do him some favors. So Albert agrees to whatever you want me to do, I'm going to do in order to save my friend's parents. So Albert goes off and meets, the doctor at his lab to get the cure, and ends up being locked in a chamber for various experiments. And these experiments turns people into revenants, which in my interpretation are demons. So the Holy Order comes in because this doctor is on their radar, per se, to stop him. And while Albert is still left in this chamber, the experiment just goes very bad, and he's turned into a half revenant. And I don't want to spoil too much of the story for you, but he's turned into a half demon. Reminds me a little bit of Inuyasha. Anyway, his friend disappears as well. The one's parents who he tried to save, which they end up, dying, unfortunately. Like I said, I don't want to spoil too much of the story. But let's get into the gameplay. This game is, when you look at the 2D sprites, it looks great, and it makes me wonder why they just didn't stick with that particular style. But when you go into battle, it switched to a 3D polygon. That reminds me of a late PS1 to possibly an early PS2 game, which isn't bad, but it isn't good either. It's kind of in the middle. The gameplay isn't horrible, it's passable, but like I said, don't go into this expecting Final Fantasy or Persona, any of those other, tier games. Is it worth buying? That's a whole nother story. Let me get into the nitty-gritty of this. That's my keyword right now. The game is sort of worth buying, possibly, for the portability factor of it. But other than that, maybe so. The gameplay isn't bad, but like I said, it's not good either. Looks like an early PS2 game to a late PS1 game. The stories, we've heard 100 times, experiments gone bad, evil villain, doctor, etc., etc. But it makes me wonder why they just didn't keep the 2D sprites looking 16 to 32-bit look, because it would have went so much better with this particular type of RPG. But it didn't happen. Anyway, it's a dungeon crawler, but the world is very bland. Not much there. But like I said, when it's looking like what you see now in 2D, it looks great. But once it switches to that 3D, it's like, what happened here? But anyway, it reminds me a little bit of Hyperdimension, where everyone has a transforming power where they can, like, Hyperdimension Neptunia games, where every character has a transforming power. And you'll find out more about that if you play the game. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that if you like RPGs and you're a hardcore fan like myself, and you don't go into this game expecting it to, give you the moon and stars, then it's an okay game to have on the go. It's probably worth a buy, but I don't think it's necessarily worth a buy right now. If you can get it on sale for around $9.99, I would say buy it. If you really, really want an RPG and can't wait for $14.99, go for it. It's not overly expensive, but don't go into it expecting it to be like the be all and end all of RPGs. I'm going to give Water a 5.5 out of 10. It's okay, passable. As always, guys, please hit that like, subscribe, and bell button and enter the Fullmetal Alchemist Blu-ray contest. Ta-ta.
What?